Hey, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to the morning show. I'm your host, Leonard Duncan. Today, we're going to talk about Quadcross of Nations, a little bit of update, some history, just get into it a little bit, maybe talk about some of the rules. Not everybody understands the format of the Quadcross of Nations. It is a little different than anything we do here in the States. FIM has noise rules and regulations, things like that, things that we don't have to deal with at the same level. Doesn't mean that they're wrong, just means that it's different. So it's things that we should maybe have a little conversation about, get into it a little bit. Um, Everybody out there that's listening or joining in, if you have questions, I'll do my best to answer them. This show was a little harder to put together. We had some technical difficulties and things like that that slowed us down this morning. So I apologize for that. Normally we get going at 8. We are It's 9:30, so we are later than normal. But just ask questions as you can, and like I said, I'll do my best to answer them and take questions in the chat. But as we focus on the Quadcross of Nations, think about when it was started all the way back in 2009, and the first team to win was France. Since then, they've only had 3 cancellations in 13, 20, and 21. We all know what happened in 20 and 21. 13, there was a tragedy also that caused it to not happen. But overall, the Quadcross of Nations is something amazing for the ATV industry. And I think that we should get more behind it and help our team with financing, things like that. There is some people that we should take our hats off and say thank you so much for it. Chad Weenan, Thomas Brown, and Harv Whipple were the originators of getting us involved. Mark Baldwin has been one of the guys that spearheaded the effort. But that's just from our side of it. When you get into the whole event last year, Hetrick Ford and Brandon Hogue won in 2024, with the Netherlands coming in second, and Italy, came in third in the Czech Republic. If I'm going too fast for some of this, just holler and I can skim back through it. There's the format it's a 3-moto format. You have 2 riders from your team on the course at a time. Each rider rides twice. When they score it, the lowest score is what wins the overall. So you're doing everything in your power to have your teammates, come in the lowest positions or the best positions, whether it be first, second, or, fifth, seventh, whatever it is, the teams need to get the lowest score so that their combined total is less than the other team. The U.S. has been fortunate enough to do this 6 times. So we'll see how their 7th time goes. You're bringing your 3 best riders from each country. In the United States, we pick our top 3 motocross riders. This year was obviously Hetrick, Ford, and then Weenan was 3rd in points when they picked. There was some controversy over that, but realistically, when you broke it down at the end of the year, he was still 3rd in points. So there's no controversy. Some other of the young riders that will be probably coming up that will hopefully make the team, or probably will make the team, is Jackson and Lindquist. Either one of these 2 guys could go there and perform very well. But as we get into the definition or some of the things that with Quadcross of Nation, I always get tongue tied when I talk about it. Remember, it's a 3-rider format. Each rider's going to ride twice. The first moto, however they draw it, you could have rider 1 and rider 2, or you could have rider 1 and rider 3. You could have rider 2 or rider 3 as well. It just depends on how the team picks their format. One rider is going to start in the front row. The second rider is going to start in the second row, and everybody starts at the same time. There are noise requirements. The FIM is very restrictful on sound. I'm not understanding exactly why they do this, but it's something that in Europe they want to limit everything. They also have stricter regulations on rubbing or touching, uh, especially in other forms. It's not as regulated in the ATVs, but I'm sure if there was an aggressive rider from another country rubbing somebody or pushing somebody, they would penalize that rider and take their positions away or eliminate them from the competition, which would ultimately hurt because nobody takes an alternate, because that's not allowed. Once the competition starts, it's those three riders, period, their machines, and that's it. They can ride the same machine, or they can have their own machine. A lot of riders want their own machine because they have different setups, whether it's thumb throttle, twist throttle, or motor package, whatever it might be, shock setup. So they don't want to ride other machines. It does happen. It doesn't happen all the time, but it can happen. Um, every year they pick a different track in the country or in Europe to go ride in. The reason it doesn't come to the States, I know everybody's going, hey, we want it in the States. We want it in the States. Well, yeah, I want it in the States too, but who's going to pay to get all those machines over here, all those containers from all those countries? Ultimately, they're saying it's cheaper for the US, Argentina, and a couple other countries to ship their stuff over. The organization, I don't think, is big enough to offset the cost, but it is something that you could look to in the future if it gets bigger to make that happen, so that you can help the teams that have to travel the most distance, drop the price. Um, I hope everyone, I briefly went over the moto breakdown. Um, and I went over a couple of the things with starting and so on and so forth. Um, you could talk about, the team that's coming over from the US in 2025. You have Ford, Hetrick, and Wienen. I went over that. These guys have ridden 3 times together. Um, and it's pretty explosive that in the last 13 years, or the last 13 motocross titles, have been won by two of these gentlemen. Bryce Ford has finished second the last 2 years in a row. So that's pretty much dominant in the ATV motocross world to have the three best guys. Brandon Hogue was third last year. They're always bringing the number 3 guy. You had guys like Thomas Brown and Jeffrey Rastrelli have been riders that have also went, which is a pretty stout deal. Chad Wienen and Joel Hetrick have both been there 5 times, each missing around. Hetrick opted out one year, and Wienen was injured one year. Don't know if he would have made the team or not, but odds are he would have. Um, Bryce Ford, this is his 3rd time, and this team has been together 3 times. So we're expecting, good things from them. The mechanics that go over have been over there multiple times. If you saw my Instagram bench prep conversation with Paul Turner, it's his first time going. He's been a mechanic for Wienen and Hetrick. That's a pretty awesome thing. I would love to get it on my resume that I have went to represent your country. I've been over to Rendezvous multiple times representing the United States, but never as just a Team USA member. That's just incredible, awesome. Hats off, you guys. I'm really, really proud of you all, and hope that things go well for Team USA. Sorry about that. Last year, the Netherlands and Italy were, wow, sorry. Sorry about that. Last year, the Netherlands and Italy were second and third. You have multitude of teams. Ireland came in second. France has been pretty dominant. The UK has a really good, strong team. If I'm not mentioning somebody, please don't hold it too much against me. I tried to do as much research on some of the guys that are riding for the other teams. Pronunciation of names, things like that have always thrown me for a loop. But you know, I'm not the best linguist. You can see some of the stutters and mistakes I make in talking. I do the best I can. Um, I'm a wrench. I tighten nuts and bolts for a living and assemble things, not talk. But you're going to look at each moto is 25 minutes long, plus 2 laps. That's a little longer than the US motos, but I don't think that for our training abilities is it a problem. Um, the flags, the fan base, this is huge. If you've gotten to see some of the videos and some of the things that have gone on over there, uh, the support from every country is huge. The UK usually comes with a large group of people. Same with Ireland, and some of the other countries. They are all very supportive. Racing in Europe as a whole, if you look at uh, athletics, their support, their soccer teams, they support racing. You're getting huge crowds that go to these events, and we draw more spectators for the Quadcross of Nations than we do for any motocross that are over here, or any race that we have over here. And it's all fan based. Some of these people are family members to the team, but some are just fans that support their country or love ATV racing. So they come out in droves, dressed in country colors, carrying flags, and just having a great time. The three moto format with 25 minutes plus 2 laps hasn't been a problem for anybody. One of the things that they're talking about this year is it's a sand track and they're worried about fuel mileage. I'm sure that they will get some type of practice depending on the size of tires, the gearing they run. I don't think it's going to be an issue, but you know, we'll see. We'll see. Paul brought this up in our bench prep conversation on Instagram. He's worried about it. Not as many of the guys that are going have spent time at Southwick, which is a sand track, which also sucks the fuel. No, we run shorter motos, so I don't think it's a problem. I'm always under the deal that or the thought process that if you run that machine with a full tank of gas, you should be able to get about 45 minutes out of it. They do a parade lap, so you have to take that into consideration. You have to take into consideration the lap time, how long they are, and really how deep the sand is. Also, is it going to be warm? Is it going to be cold? Well, it says that it's going to rain. We talked about weather. If it rains heavy in that condition, that could change some things. If it's a coarse sand, it's a fine sand. I don't know these things. I'm not familiar with the track. I haven't seen the layout. I'm hopefully going to get some pictures of this so that we can talk about it the day of the race. We'll be trying to do some streaming of the show, maybe some live stream on YouTube, maybe some Instagram stuff where we talk about the race, what's going on. I can't show the race because it infringes, copyright infringement on YouTube and Instagram. They would shut us down, shut the feed off, and we wouldn't be able to go on. But I can still talk about it, even if it was playing on the side view and we're talking about it while the race is going on. We might be able to do something like that to get as much information out for as many as the fans that are out there. You know, brief on how the moto format we went through, the individual teams. I didn't get a breakdown for the list of who's entered. I believe that it's over 20 countries, but then again, I haven't got the full list. Maybe we'll try to get that and publish it on all of our media sites, Instagram, so on and so forth, to get you guys some more information. you look at the culture behind all of these countries. I believe this started, back in 2009, um, because you have the European Championships, you have uh, the British Championship, and then you have your other countries' championships. Uh, ATVs were trying to get some respect, basically. And this is a portion of where this comes from. I don't know who the people were behind starting it, um, but it's great that they did. I know that we run sidecars. It's a dual thing so that you can be a better event with the countries coming with sidecars and the countries coming with ATVs. Um, we're going to try to cover a little bit of the sidecars for uh, our motorsports podcast and talk about this because it's such a large deal. They brought the sidecars to the United States this year, where I believe they were at Briarcliff, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember what track they were at, but they did bring them out and raced them. So maybe a U.S. team is going to go over and participate with this. I'm not really sure. Um, you know, I'm very proud of being an American. I'm very proud of Team USA. And I don't want the other countries that are going to watch this or listen to this that think that I'm not, respectful of them. But in 2017 through 24, the United States is just flat dominated. They've scored the lowest point score that you can score every time, which is not telling us that we didn't have issues. Usually one rider out of the group has had an issue and it's hurt us, but it didn't hurt us in the overall score. Um, so, they battled back with some chain issues and other things. A carrier 1 year. So I believe that in 2025, there could be some differences. You have riders that have came over and raced in the United States and developed some skills, but you also have Harry Walker that's dominated, with 3 British championships, and I believe he's gotten 3 European championships. He's going to be really fast. Torini from Italy, I believe, is super fast. This guy could, take a moto or put himself in position to help his country. There's other riders that are also very fast from other countries. I apologize, don't know your names, but I know that there are some fast riders. We're looking at Joel Hetrick and how dominant he is. He's probably going to be dominant again. Bryce Ford, up until his injury, he was second every moto. He's pretty dominant. Chad Wienen is an 8-time national motocross champion. He won the final round of the 2025 season. Not everybody knows, but Chad is retiring. I don't think he's retiring. He has some bucket list races that he wants to do. But he's ending his career. He's in his 40s. He has children. Stellar career for the man. He's been around 20 some years. Wow, incredible for him to go out this way riding. He got to ride Pendezvous. He got second, winning the last round, third for the season. Still on the podium. Great accomplishments, great career. Hetrick winning his 5th title. Almost had a second undefeated season. Came down to the last round, where he tied up with another rider. It was a different format. So it was a Triple Crown format. So the moto wasn't as long. He did battle back into 8th place, winning the last 2 portions of the Triple Crown. We already went over all this, but there's things that you have to look into. Let's get back into weather conditions and speed. This could, be an equaling factor for the Europeans. They ride in wetter conditions or different conditions than we do in the States. A lot of the times it's dry. It does rain in the States. I'm not trying to say it doesn't. I'm not trying to say that these guys aren't weather prepared, but the Europeans may be ready for this style of course a little bit better than the Team USA guys are. This is where experience from Mark Baldwin and the other mechanics like Paul Turner and some of the other guys that are going to be there, they're going to be relying on their years and years of experience to set the machines up better for the riders. Same with, Harry Walker's crew. They've ridden in some pretty horrific conditions over in Europe. Same with all of the other guys that race in the European Championships. Sometimes they're great, sometimes it's not so good. It's hard to talk about tires that they're going to use. I know that they go with three different styles, from a really tall tire for really muddy, wet conditions to a mid-level tire, which you would use in a cross-country race or an off-road race, generally a 2120. And then you have your motocross style tire, which is an 18, or it's a 2018. Not sure if they'll be able to use that in this race. So we'll have to see what happens. One of the things that I didn't mention earlier on is the announcer for a lot of the races out here in the US is Cody Jansen. He is going to be going over and announcing for the English speaking portion of this event. I think they picked a great guy. He's really good at it. He talks well, and he knows a lot of the different names and the riders. So Cody's going to do us a great job by announcing for the English speaking portion of the event. I know they cover it in multiple different forms, languages. So that'll be awesome. So I know that when we're listening to it, we'll be able to understand exactly what's going on. They've had English speakers in the past, and they did a great job as well. They knew some of the riders over there in Europe, maybe a little bit better than Cody will, but it's a good thing. As far as, I think I've covered most everything. I don't hide my biases for Team USA. I'm rooting for them and wanting them to do really well. I hope everybody there that goes to the race and every country performs at their best and has a great time. I am hugely jealous that I am not there, but we'll try to make it. Everybody that listens to my show knows that Valeria, my youngest, is very much involved in everything that we do, and she has stated openly that in 2026 that we need to put some resources aside and make it happen to go to the next one. I don't think that would be something that I'm against. We want to make sure that we get to cover stories the best we possibly can for everybody as well. It's a great honor to go and be part of Team USA. We're going to have a good race in 2025. We've had some amazing races go on here in 25 with, the stuff that went on in the European Championship and the British Championship, as well as the United States. I didn't get to follow some of the other countries and how their national titles went. But if you're listening to this and you're from Italy or France, reach out, give us some information. We'll post it. We'll talk about it, and have these riders from other countries on. The time zone is an issue, so we don't always get to do that or get to have them tied in with us. I think I've covered everything that's on the list, and how we structured the episode to talk about it. I got to quit saying, that's horrible. But we are going to be back with you next weekend during the race, and we'll do some information and have it posted for you. We'll try to get results and everything immediately as the race finalizes, so that there's no gray area of where the points break down. who's in first, who's in second, who's in third. I think that it's going to be a more competitive race. I believe that you're going to see the Europeans try to rise to the occasion, and they don't like the fact that the Americans come over and win. They want their countries to be standing on top of the box, and we're going to see some good competition over there. So make sure you tune in to Quadcross of Nations. You can get a subscription and pay for it and watch it live. Yeah, you got to get up in the middle of the night to do so, but you can still watch it and make sure that you're keeping track of your favorite riders and teams, whether you're in the Netherlands or France or Italy or Argentina or here in the States. You're able to tune in and be a part of it. ATV-TALK will be covering it. And, thank you for your time today. And make sure that you subscribe, share with your friends. Did you get your Dirt Wheels subscription? Have you gotten your ATV on demand subscription? They're free. Well, Dirt Wheels isn't, but everybody else's is. You can just click the subscribe button and tune into all of our shows and help support us. Thank you very much. Have a great day, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And we will catch up with you on the next one.